So if you've made a decision to go, if you've made a decision that you're going to make a change, that you're going to leave your job, that you're going to start a new law firm, I want to give you two essential pieces of advice that I found to be so important in making my transition from big law firm partner to solopreneur work for me. I want to talk to you about the importance of leaving on good terms, on leaving with integrity. Now, this is the blinding flash of the obvious, right? Everybody's like, don't burn your bridges when you go. But it goes beyond that, right? I mean, if you're going to stay in the same city and you're going to maybe be thinking about referrals from some of your old colleagues and you're going to want to socialize with them just to maintain a sense of community, it's really important for you to go above and beyond, the minimum level on making sure that you are leaving in a way that is above reproach. I was actually all set to leave the big firm partnership. It was a little bit less than a year before I actually did. I had done all the planning that I needed to do. I absolutely made the decision that it was important for me to make this change in my life. But I was handling some very substantial litigation with maybe about like a half dozen lawyers who were involved in it. It was sort of a joint effort of our Chicago and Manhattan offices. I was spending a ton of time in New York, and I was running point. I was not the most senior lawyer on the team, but I was, one of the more senior partners, and I was really crafting the strategy. I was doing implementation. I was managing the associates. And if I decided to leave when I was ready to go, I would have absolutely left that team of colleagues in a terrible situation. It would have disadvantaged the clients. It would have made the more senior partners have a real challenge. It would have made it harder for the associates to do their work. And so I said that in spite of my need to, make this change for myself, I'm just going to wait until this piece of litigation gets to a point where, I'm at a logical stopping point, a logical transition where I was able to, transition this thoughtfully. I spent a couple months at my old firm between the time when I said I wanted to go and when I told my practice group leader that I was leaving until the time that I actually resigned from the partnership. And so I spent months before even telling anybody that I was leaving, just making sure to get my files to a place where nobody would be disadvantaged on my team when I was gone. And then after I said I'm officially going to leave, I stuck around to make sure that every dot was connected and every ball was caught, because I was appreciative of all that these people did for me over the 14 years or so that I was at that firm, 7 years as an associate and 7 years as a partner. And when I left, my group, the construction law group, they threw a party for me. My wife came, all my partners and the associates came, some of their spouses came. It was a fancy lunch. They made little construction hard hat cookies that had icing on it that said, good luck, Jeremy. And, it was just wonderful. It was wonderful because I remained very close with my former colleagues. They didn't lose a step in the litigation. The clients that I was leaving behind at the old law firm didn't leave a step, and so, you absolutely want to go above and beyond the point of bare minimum when you're making your move, right? And because I'll never forget something that I heard somebody say. I wish that I could attribute the quote, but I've long since forgotten who said it. But I heard somebody say that the only thing that people will remember about you when you're gone from the big law firm is how you left. And I think that that is so true. I was at this job for almost 14 years, and I had so many highs and lows and, good times and, great talks around the water cooler and so many wonderful partner meetings that had, a dinner afterwards where I got a chance to sit around and chat with some of the smartest, nicest people ever. And, I really enjoyed that time. But in a moment of honesty, I think that probably all those people who I was talking to at all those wonderful moments, all those times around the water cooler, like all the times that we were in the foxhole together, and I'm talking about hundreds of different people, partners and associates over a long time. I bet in a moment of honesty, if I really wanted to tell you the truth, I bet they don't remember anything about me other than the fact that, I'm a middle-aged, gray hair kind of guy that practices in construction law that left on good terms. I would bet that they don't remember many of the things that we experienced together over those nearly 14 years. I think that the only thing they're going to remember is I'm the construction law guy and that I left on good terms. So when you're gone, it may be the case that all you'll be remembered for is how you leave, right? So you have to leave with integrity. Certainly, I was cognizant of the rules that were set out in the partnership agreement about what I could do and what I couldn't do. I observed those rules, scrupulously. I was very careful to study, the ethics opinions in my state, the case law about what I could do and what I couldn't do, about, making sure that I continue to work super hard, for the clients that I was serving while I was there, keeping my mouth shut about my plans, as was appropriate to the clients, to my colleagues at the firm, and, I can't, there's nothing that I'm more grateful for now that I'm almost 4 years into my practice, that I can call up the phone with my old partners and, and we can have a laugh and we can get lunch. And when I see them, I get a hug, not, a nasty look. So, the only thing people are going to remember about you is how you left. And so if you're concerned that, oh, maybe I'm not going to get enough business, maybe I'll bend the rules a little bit and maybe I'll whisper in the ears of some of these clients that you're leaving, or, whatever temptation that you may have to not leave on good terms, to not follow the rules, to not follow the partnership agreement, anything that you might be feeling is a shortcut that you want to take that would see you leaving with a little bit less than total integrity, I would just urge you not to do it, particularly if you're tempted by some of those shortcuts out of fear that you're not going to be able to get clients for yourself. You will be able to get clients for yourself, and you don't want to leave with the stain of burning the bridges, in any way possible. But another important piece of advice I would give you is you may not, want to burn the bridges, but you burn the boats, right? I don't know where the analogy comes from, but, when the explorers show up on the shores of the new land, the leader doesn't want them to think about going back to the old world. And so they light the boats on fire. So there's no way, to get home. That's an important piece of advice. Don't burn the bridges, but burn the boats. I was not leaving on good terms at my old firm because I had any thought at all about coming back. No thought. I made the decision to go. I was going to launch this firm, in one way or another, I was going to make it a success. And I was not leaving with integrity. I was not leaving on good terms with the thought of coming back in a year later with my tail between my legs after my, misadventures and starting a law firm unwound. I was committed to making the change. I was committed to making it right, making it successful, but I was committed to also doing it in the right way to preserve those relationships, which has given me many professional as well as personal, wonderful things. There's been a lot of upside to the way that I left. So leave on good terms, leave with integrity. That's the only thing people are going to remember about you. Don't burn your bridges, but burn the boats. Because if you're going to go, you should think about nothing other than serving out the rest of your career, having success in your new venture. Next up in the series, I'm going to cover the importance about being curious and open-minded. Because if you're anything like I was a couple years ago when I was at the big law firm thinking about making a change, I had no idea the number of blind spots that were all about me, but there were a ton of them. And so being curious and open-minded, as you sort of look around and try to size up the challenge, and how would you actually go about leaving your old firm, launching your new firm? How would you manage it? Being curious and open-minded is the key to not getting stuck, in your blind spots. So if you only remember one thing from this video, remember that nobody will likely remember much about you after you've left your current job other than how you left. And if you want to think about an action item, if there's something that you want to consider in order to further the chances that you're going to successfully be able to make this leap out on your own, you may wish to consider, what would it look like for you to leave on good terms? What files do you have that you'd want to park in a safe harbor, so that you don't leave your current partners and associates and clients in the lurch? If you're anything like me, you had enough going on that it was 6 months, 9 months, a year out. And if you can sort of identify where that optimal time frame is to leave everybody that you're associated with at your current firm in the best position to pick up the pieces when you leave as simply as possible. If you could figure out when that moment is based on your current caseload, you can calibrate how much time you have to think about the decisions that I talked about in the previous episode in the series about, are you going fast, are you going slow? So how much time do you have to find that safe harbor, to hand off your files nicely? If you go slow like me, if you're a planner, can you take that amount of time to make the go or the no-go decision, and to accomplish what you need to accomplish to be ready at that point? If not, you may wish to consider, what is it that you would need to do if you're not going to be ready at that first moment, to think about when is the next logical off-ramp for you, and to try to calibrate your caseload and your commitments now so that you're able to kind of hit that next off-ramp. Because leaving on good terms and with integrity is probably the most important thing that you can do as you make your break from being a big law firm attorney and striking out on your own.